Now, I really hope that you do not believe this lie that the financial industry is spreading, and that is that you must have money to make money, or that the higher the risk, the higher the growth is going to be. Because let's face it, if you do, and you are not willing to change your paradigm, in other words, to change your very limited belief system, you are going to be in for some really, really hard times when it comes to growing your money or your investment. So today I'd like to share with you one of the most powerful strategies there is. That is, of course, if you want to let your money work for you. Now, I've personally applied this strategy that I'm going to share with you over the last 12 months as an experiment. It's part of a challenge, and I'm going to tell you more about that challenge in just a moment. But my total investment on the 1st of November 2021 was a total of 100 Rand. There's no fancy structures or paper money movements that we've done. And at the moment, it is 3,837,093 Rands and 90 cents. Now, of course, some of my money is in cryptos. The markets are seriously down, and it can be a different figure a little bit later on today. So let me share with you this strategy. But before I do, if you're new to this channel, I'm Dreyer. I'm the founder of the Wealth Creators Method, where we help entrepreneurs and investors to create, to grow, and to protect their wealth by applying the Wealth Creator strategy. And the Wealth Creator strategy, if I can give you a definition, is the intelligent use of limited resources to go from where you are to where you want to be in the shortest possible time with the least amount of risk. So basically, we look at where we are and what we've got available, and then we say, where do we want to be and when do we want to be? So I've basically set the goal and said, I'm at 100 Rand, that's the total that I want to invest, and then I want to be in 500,000 Rand within the first year or at the end of the year, so that I could start with this challenge that I'm going to tell you a little bit later on. So as I've said to you, at the moment, we're over 3.8 million. Now, the risk is 100 Rand. But to the average person, what does risk mean? What is risk? We think that risk is that, let's call it volatility of our investment. And that is not the truth. Warren Buffett says, risk is when you do not know what you're doing. The problem is that the majority of people have got no idea what it is that they're doing, because they earn their money and then they take their hard-earned money and they give it to an expert. An expert where the experts, the chances are that that person is poorer than you are actually great. So when I want to learn how to fly a helicopter, I'm not going to go to a mechanic. I'm going to go to someone that is a master and that has done that and knows how to fly a helicopter. The quickest way for you to learn a skill is to get someone that has done it before. In other words, that you want to achieve. If that person can prove that he or she has done it, maybe that's a person that you should ask. But what are the steps? Now, the steps that I've taken is the strategy. And I'm limiting my risk by simply applying 4 high-value skill sets. The first one of those skill sets is high-value mental skills. And the skills that I've got, in other words, in terms of my mindset, are the 6 faculties of the mind, the thinking mind. Because there's a very specific process that you have to think. The problem is that the majority of people don't think. They think because there's activities in their brains that they're thinking, but they do not follow a process or a strategy to think. So if you want to turn 100 Rands into 3 million in a year, it's not going to happen by giving your money away and where someone else starts controlling your money. It is by you learning how to think strategically in order to turn that money into the millions. Now, from 100 to 3 million simply means that there were other skills that I've used as well. And that is high income skill. The next one is high business skill. And the next one is high investment skill. So with investments, the easiest skill to learn is basically that of property and then of crypto. Business is actually a more complicated skill to acquire if you want to turn your business into an investment. But that's a process. So it's intelligent use. It's not the intellect. It's got nothing to do with the intellect. If you go and have a look at the fund managers and the qualifications that they've got and how many years they've spent at university and the degrees that they've got, you're going to find that these are very highly intellectual people. If you look at some of the most intellectual people in the world, the professors and stuff out there, you're going to find that the majority of them have got no idea how to invest their money. And they've got definitely no idea how to turn 100 Rand into more than 3 million. Because it's got nothing to do with the intellect. It's to learn how to master the 6 higher faculties. It's these faculties that differentiate us from the animal kingdom out there. Yet, it's not been taught at school or at varsity or anywhere. Because people do not want you to understand how great you are and how powerful you are. And that you, without going to university or getting any financial background or degrees or experience, that you can literally outperform the best fund managers out there. Now, it's intelligent use. Use means that you have to apply it. Why do we have to apply it? It's to see if it's working or not. Because we have to measure the growth. We have to measure our performance, how hard this money is working for us. Because once you can measure the results, then you can manage it. And the things that we manage are the skills. So how do I apply these skills in order to move from where I am to where I want to be as quickly as possible with the least amount of risk? Now, that's the strategy. So nothing complicated to us. But if you want to know the process that we are following, then I'd like to invite you to a webinar where I'm going to get a lot deeper into this. And it's literally a masterclass. It's going to be 2 hours of pure training. And then there's going to be a question and answer session where you can ask me any questions relating to this topic. And I'm going to do the best in order to be able to help you. I'm of course not going to give you advice. It's part of the training. Now during this webinar, there are 4 secrets that I'm going to share. But before I get to the secrets that I'm going to share, I'm going to work a little bit on your mindset. Because I see that that is where most people get it wrong. They think that once they understand the strategy, that it's easy. And it is easy. The strategy is not difficult. But the problem is that when it comes to success, you're going to find that 95% of your success is determined by your mindsets. And people don't understand their minds. They don't understand how to use their mind. They don't understand how to think. They think. Everyone thinks that they're thinking. But they do not get the process that they need to follow to be in control of themselves and of their mind. So once that is in place, then there's only 5% that you need to gain additional. And the first secret is asymmetrical knowledge. So the difference between the rich and the poor people is that rich people know stuff that poor people don't know. And one of the things that they know is that the lower the risk, the higher the growth, which is exactly the opposite to this lie that's been spread that is saying the higher the risk, the higher the growth. It is simply not true. It is true for the middle class and the poor, but it's not true for the rich because they understand these principles and they understand how to apply the 7 natural laws in order to basically start with no money. And the truth is that you don't need money ever in your life. You need the skills. If you've got the skills, the money is there. You can start all your businesses, all your investments with no money, simply if you do have the skills. But people are not willing to take the responsibility to learn these skills because it has to be learned. If you don't know it, you have to learn it. Now, the good news about the strategy and the skills is that it is teachable and learnable, and therefore it is transferable. If someone else has done it before and they've got a system, all you have to do is to follow the system in order to gain the skills so that you can do exactly the same thing. So what's the second secret? It's a disruptive competency or skill. I see there's a lot of people that go to university in order to get a job. They get a nice degree, but the real reason behind that is to become a slave and to get a job. Right. And they associate that qualification with a competency, with skills. And it's not the truth. Because if you really think about it in terms of a BA degree, there are hundreds of thousands, even millions of people that has got exactly the same qualification. Or on a BCom degree, exactly the same thing. So you're competing against millions of other people. And that is why here in South Africa there are so many people with degrees that do not have a job. It's not that they haven't got the academic qualification. It means they haven't got real life skills where they can add value to their employer. Now, the main thing and the real thing is not only to add value to your employer, but it is to add value to yourself. In other words, to learn how to master yourself, to manage yourself, so that you'll be in a position to take 100 Rand and turn it into millions. Right. The third thing that I'm going to share with you is disruptive systems. Now, what is a disruptive system? I'm taking approximately 2 minutes per day to manage my cryptocurrency portfolio, my property portfolio, as well as my business. Maybe 3 minutes, a minute each, because I have to log in and log out of different systems. But that is a disruptive system. Now, it's not easy to build it because it's going to take time, it's going to take effort. There's a lot of responsibility that I've taken in order to build and set up those systems in order to help me. But the reason why I'm doing it is simply because I call it the lazy man's way to wealth creation. It's because once it's in place, it's so easy to manage. Because all I manage are the results. And the results tell me if I have to do something, and if I'm on track or if I'm not on track. And if I'm not on track, I know that I have to pay more attention to develop more skill sets. It's that simple. So the fourth one that I'm going to share with you is what we call a disruptive investment strategy. And this is where I'm going to start breaking this down and show you the process that I followed in order to turn the 100 Rand. First of all, I said it's going to be more than 500,000 Rand within the first year so that I can start the challenge. Now, what is this challenge? The challenge was basically, I was watching a YouTube video. I don't know how it happened, but I saw this YouTube video. And on this YouTube video, a client gave 2 experts, gurus here in South Africa, 500,000 Rand each. And the heading is the 500K challenge. And that's where and why I'm taking the 500K challenge. And the client said to one guy, he invests and tells the world that it's offshore investments. That is the best bet. And the other guy says, no, there's more than enough opportunities here in South Africa. Local is lekker. You can invest in South Africa. So he decided to test the two to see who's going to give him the best performance. And part of that was a diversification of the R1 million that he had available to invest. Now, when I saw that, I immediately sent out the email to my database and I said to them and to my Legacy Mastermind students that's been with me on this path, and I said to them that I'm going to take on this 500K challenge, 500,000 Rand challenge, and I'm going to outperform these guys with at least 100% over the same period. And not only them, but any fund manager in the world. And I'm going to give my Legacy Mastermind students the opportunity to see and to follow, and because they've got access to the Wealth Creators University where they can see where we are implementing the skills so that they'll be able to do the same kind of thing. But I'm not going to start with 500,000 Rand because that is your risk. I'm going to show, because most people do not have, in the markets that I'm working with, very few people do have 500,000 Rand just to put into an investment and hope that the investment is going to work. I'm going to show them how to use this strategy and limit their risk to a maximum of 100 Rand by doing it myself. I'm going to take 100 Rand of my own money, put it into this, and then go to the 500,000 to start the challenge. But not only am I going to outperform them with 100%, I'm going to turn the 100 Rand into 20 million by simply applying the 4 high-value skill sets. And the most important part is the mindset part. And by using the mindset, the higher faculties of the mind, I know the process in order to control myself, my thoughts, my thinking process, as well as my money. And that's what I want to share with you during that webinar. So below this video, if it's on YouTube at least, you're going to find a link in the description area. Click on that link and book for the next 500K Challenge Masterclass, where I'm going to take you through the process. It's going to be 2 hours. After the 2 hours, there's going to be a question and answer session for those people that wants to ask me questions. I'm not going to give advice. It's part of the training session. But in the event that you don't get something, I'll be there and I'll stay there till each and every question has been answered. So I'll see you there. Thanks for your time. Cheers.